For most of human history, your ancestors did not cook. They did not recipe. They did not dinner. They ate whatever they could find before something else found them first. Tonight, you opened a fridge packed with options. You deliberated. You scrolled recipes on your phone. You maybe stood there for 5 minutes trying to decide between leftovers and something new. You chose something and heated it in a machine that cooks it for you in 90 seconds. And then you probably did not think twice about it. 50,000 years ago, your ancestor opened nothing. There was no fridge. There was no recipe. There was no choice. There was no scrolling. There was no deliberation. There was only one rule: find it or starve. And what they found will surprise you. Because the human diet was not the balanced, varied, carefully portioned thing you have been sold. It was not quinoa bowls and omega-3 supplements and carefully measured macros. It was chaotic, desperate, and wildly creative. Let me explain. The first thing you need to understand is that food, as a concept, did not really exist for most of human history. Your ancestors did not think of eating the same way you do. They did not sit down at a table. They did not have meal times. They did not have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They did not have snacks. They had periods of eating and periods of not eating. Sometimes the gap between those periods lasted days, sometimes longer. When food was available, they ate constantly. They gorged. They consumed everything they could get their hands on because their bodies told them the same thing your body still tells you during a buffet. This might not come again for a long time. A 2015 study from researchers at Tel Aviv University analyzed the dental remains of humans from 400,000 years ago and found something remarkable. The wear patterns on the teeth showed extreme variation over time. Some periodonts showed almost no eating at all. Others showed massive consumption of whatever was available at that moment. They were feast or famine. Literally, their teeth record it like tree rings record drought. And the feast part was not pretty. The earliest humans ate raw meat, not seared over a flame with garlic butter, not marinated in a carefully crafted sauce, not seasoned with herbs from a garden they tended seasonally. Raw, straight from the carcass, sometimes while the carcass was still warm. Now, you might be thinking, but humans have canine teeth. Surely we were built for meat. Here is the truth. Your canine teeth are barely canines compared to actual carnivores. They are an evolutionary leftover. The real tools that made your ancestors successful eaters were not their teeth. Their tools were their hands, their cooperation, and their ability to scavenge. Before they were hunters, they were scavengers. They waited for a lion or a hyena to make a kill. They watched from a distance. And then, often at great risk, they crept in to take what was left. The scraps. The parts the predator did not want. And they were grateful for those scraps. They ate organs first. Liver, heart, kidney, brain. The nutrient-dense parts that modern humans have largely abandoned in favor of muscle meat alone. Your ancestors wasted nothing. They cracked bones from marrow using rocks. They ate the stomach contents of herbivores, which was essentially predigested plant matter, a full cooked meal ready to absorb without the cooking. They ate the skin. They ate the eyes. They ate parts of animals that most modern humans cannot even look at without flinching. And they thrived on it. They ate insects by the handful. Grasshoppers, beetle larvae, termites, ants, grubs pulled from rotting logs. Not as a survival food. Not as a last resort. As a staple. A reliable, abundant, calorie-dense staple. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Human Evolution estimated that early humans consumed approximately 1,500 insects per day during peak seasons. Insects are calorie-dense, protein-rich, and require almost no tools to harvest. You just pick them up and eat them. Your ancestors did not turn their noses up. They could not afford to. Every calorie was precious. Every protein molecule was a gift. But here is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. And I want you to stay with me, because this part matters. Your ancestors also ate each other. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, not in some abstract philosophical sense. Literally, evidence of cannibalism has been found at human settlement sites across Europe, Africa, and the Americas, dating back hundreds of thousands of years. Cut marks on ancient human bones match the cut marks made on animal bones found at the same sites. The same patterns, the same technique. The bones were cracked open from marrow the same way animal bones were cracked open. A landmark 2010 study of remains in Gough's Cave in Somerset, England found human skulls that had been carefully cleaned and shaped into drinking cups. The precision of the cuts showed skill and intention. This was not starvation cannibalism born of desperation. This was routine. This was normal. And it was not isolated. Similar evidence has been found in sites across France, Spain, and Croatia. Neanderthals did it. Early Homo sapiens did it. Homo erectus apparently did it too. Before you recoil, before you judge, understand the context. Your ancestors did not have the luxury of moral categories around food. Everything was food. Everything that had calories was fuel. And other humans, particularly those who had already died, had a lot of calories. The average human body contains approximately 125,000 calories worth of edible tissue. That is a significant energy source in a world where finding energy meant the difference between surviving the winter and not. This was not cruelty. This was survival. And in a world without refrigerators, without supermarkets, without any guarantee of the next meal, survival was the only morality. Now, here is the part that changes everything. The part that separates you from every other species on Earth. About 400,000 years ago, something shifted. Humans discovered fire. Not just fire they found from lightning strikes or volcanic eruptions. Not just fire they sheltered and maintained when they stumbled upon it. Fire they made. Fire they controlled. Fire they carried with them from place to place like a tool. And that single discovery rewired the entire human diet and the entire human species. Cooked food is easier to digest. Significantly easier. Cooking breaks down proteins. It softens fibers. It neutralizes toxins. It makes nutrients more accessible to your gut. Easier to digest means more calories extracted from the same amount of food. More calories means more energy. More energy means bigger, more complex brains. A landmark 2009 study by researcher Rachel Carmody at Harvard University demonstrated that cooked food provides up to 30% more usable calories than the same food eaten raw. That is not a small difference. That 30% margin might be the difference between surviving and thriving, between a species that persists and a species that dominates. And cooking did something else that is easy to overlook. It unlocked foods that were previously completely inedible. Tubers like cassava are toxic when raw. Certain roots contain cyanide compounds that will kill you if you eat them uncooked. Many grains are completely indigestible in their raw state. But cook them, and they become calorie powerhouses. Cooking turned poison into food. It turned the inedible into the essential. It expanded the human menu from what nature conveniently provided to what nature could be transformed into. But here is what is truly remarkable. Cooking did not just change what humans ate. It changed how humans thought. Because cooking requires planning. You cannot cook on pure impulse. You have to gather fuel before you need it. You have to maintain the fire. You have to prepare the food before you eat it. You have to think ahead. Cooking is the first technology, the first act of creation that is not just finding what nature provides, but transforming it into something new, something better, something more. And physically, it changed us. Measurably. Our jaws got smaller over thousands of generations because we did not need to chew as hard. Cooked food is softer food. Our guts got shorter because cooked food is easier to process and does not require the long digestive tract that raw food demands. And our brains got bigger.